recognize me. I didn't look the same, but it's alright now. I learned my lesson well. You see, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
Yes, exactly true. 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this beautiful Tuesday morning. A little bit cooler, I guess, than is normal for the first day of April. Caroline Baldwin is in the studio to answer your questions about your lawns and your gardens. And the phone number, if you'd like to be on the air with Caroline, is 622-9622. That is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline. And this show is sponsored. I'll let Caroline Baldwin tell you who the sponsors are. Good morning, Caroline.
By Black Cow Cow Manure.
How you doing?
Good.
The mature manure.
And the mature manure, yes it is. And dynamite plant food as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's, a beautiful day out there.
I would think that manure was food for a plant.
Well, it is. It is.
So I'm a little confused by what's the difference.
Well, that's it. Somebody the other day says, they told me not to buy fertilizer. They told me to buy plant food. Well, fertilizer and plant food are pretty much the same. I mean, it's giving nutrients.
Well, who was they? Do you know? Who
it was just a customer in the store, who the they was. I want to say it was someone from Extension, but not in Marion County.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
So somebody who knows
County.
More than they do.
Or that should.
Or should, yeah. But in your world, you wouldn't have said it that way.
No, I would. You're looking for, because he was in particular looking for something for his palm trees. And they said, the guy told me, make sure that you buy palm food, not palm fertilizer. I says, well. I guess in a technical term, they're probably not really one and the same, but when you provide the fertilizer, it is feeding the plant / food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in a way.
And you've got a phone call. How about that? Look at this. Good morning. You're on the air with Caroline.
Hi, I have two questions for Caroline.
Yeah.
First of all, why am I getting black leaves on my hydrangea plants?
Why are you getting black leaves? You could. Is it like the black sooty mold, or is it spots?
The leaves turn black and shrivel up, and I just pull them off.
Oh, okay. So the leaf itself is just is turning brown and all that. There's probably a couple different reasons. Right? Is it's doing it now more than other times during the year, or is this the first?
It hasn't started yet.
Oh, it hasn't. But it does happen. Later on. It can be a matter of some fungal issues going on with them when we start to have the rains in the afternoon that don't dry before it gets dark out. When you get those temperatures and that humidity and the things don't dry in the evening before the sun goes down, it just invites a fungal issue. You could, if you wanted to, put yourself on a spray program as soon as that starts happening. I think right now we're probably almost at our best time of year when it comes to less disease and less insect pressure. But do watch. You don't really need to be putting on too much supplemental water on anything right now. It is.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing is stressing. You want to try to keep all your watering at ground level if you can. Mm-hmm. And that way you're preventing that splash up. But other than that, it sounds like it's more over something that's it's when the conditions are right for the disease issues and it's going to occur.
Okay, is there anything you can do to treat it?
You can either spray, preventatively as well as curatively with a fungicide, a disease control for ornamental plants. There's several out there. It's nothing, not any one in particular that you need to get. You could try copper. You could try any of the ones. You could try the Daconil. Anything, any of the ones that are out there should work as a topical spray. Anything sprayed topically, you will need, if the fungus is present, if the problem is present, you will need to spray and then spray again. Usually the instructions are going to tell you 7 to 14 days, so I usually make it even 10 days in between and spray at least twice.
Oh, okay. And my other question is, I'm getting yellow leaves on my hibiscus plants. Is this too much water? What is...
On the hibiscus with the yellowing leaves, it happens, it's a sign of stress. It could be too much water. We've had the fluctuating temperatures where I think this morning we were about 45 degrees this morning. And that's, that's a little cool for them. They're not, they're not at their happiest at that point.
Yeah. Because they're flowering, but I'm getting yellow leaves. Not all of the leaves turn yellow, but, some.
A few of them yellow and fall off.
Yeah.
Have you fed it yet this year?
No.
I would give it some fertilizer and just watch the amount of water.
What do you recommend for fertilizer for the hibiscus?
On something like a hibiscus, just anything that would be for flowering shrubs. So you can either use a bloom booster if you wanted to, or just anything that's for flowering shrubs.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
And the phone line is open again. If you'd like to call Carol Ann, 622-9622, the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline. So,
and yeah, to get within her question was, the yellowing leaves, and this will happen on hibiscus. It happens to gardenias. It happens to a few other plants. It is, and even on roses and things. It's a reaction to stress. Usually it's not anything you are necessarily doing. If the leaf just sort of turns yellow and either drops off or falls off easily, and if you can eliminate that stress, whether or not it's you're overwatering or it's underwater, right now it can be temperature fluctuations. It's just those nighttime temperatures being a little bit chilly in the morning, but then we're going to warm up nicely during the day. So it's just that fluctuation.
and we have another phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning, Carol Ann.
Morning.
Let me calling again.
Yeah.
Just seems like I have a tremendous amount of weeds this year.
Yeah.
All kinds. One other thing is we have it's right now going into seed.
Okay.
And it's a very fine grass.
Yeah.
When you either go to hit it or weed whack it or whatever or mow it, it lays down rather than gets cut.
Right.
I'm
It's
wondering what the heck this stuff is.
it could be a wild Bermuda
Huh.
in there, and that's one of the reasons why most of the time they don't recommend the growing of Bermuda in Florida. Well, for a whole lot of anybody, is because of the type of mower it takes. It takes that reel mower versus a rotary mower in order to cut that off. But yeah, on something like that, I would, unless it's going to leave you big holes in the yard, because none of the weed killers that you can use on your lawn are going to kill that out. Nothing,
wow.
yeah, nothing we have, none of those, because the herbicides that you can use in your turf, on your lawn, that will kill the weeds, only kill broadleaf weeds. They don't do anything on grasses. So those wild grasses that go through, it's something you're either going to have to try to isolate them and dig them out, or if you can take, and I like the paper towel tube or the toilet paper tube, put it over the weed and get the Roundup and just a good squirt in there, let it sit for a minute to let the drift just settle there, and then you can go to another spot, and then you end up with a few little polka dots in the yard, but if you dug up the weeds, you're going to get the same kind of little polka dot, kind of thing.
The other thing is, I don't know how true this is, but I started having my lawn mowed last year, only because couldn't take the heat anymore.
Sure.
Now, somebody said to me that when you have these guys do your lawn, they're bringing the weeds and whatever they cut in the previous lawn to your lawn.
They could be. They very well could be.
Yeah.
You can ask them to rinse off their mower or blow off their mower before they come on yours. You might offer them your garden hose to have them hose it off in your driveway to where it's not going to be spread from somebody else's lawn onto yours.
Yeah, in other words, that is true. It can happen.
Oh, sure. Any time that there's a weed seed, if they're going from one lawn to another lawn, if the grass on the first lawn was a little bit moist, some of that's going to stick up underneath that mower deck, and then the next place where they go and they turn that mower on, when that blade starts going, and it's going to throw off anything that's in there.
Right.
Yeah, so it can spread. They can actually spread the lawn diseases as well as weeds.
I know when I do my when I was doing my lawn, when you get done mowing it, boy, that thing, you had to blower it off.
Yeah.
There's just too many crevices and cracks and angles and stuff that collect the dust and the pollen and whatever else.
Oh yeah, all the dirt and all that, and if those guys get in a hurry and they just run from one to another, and I mean that's how they make their living. But you should be able to, if they have any type of reputation, just ask them, do they clean their mowers between yards? If they say no, what you could do is ask them to do it before they mow yours, that you're getting weeds in, and it could very well be from them.
Right.
So.
Oh boy. You think you solve one problem and it just creates another.
You bring in another. I would ask them to. Clean the mower. They may realize, if they do that, it's a little nicer thing. That's something else that they can advertise. That yes, they won't be carrying weeds from one to another. When they finish mowing yours, they should hose it off there, or blow it off right there before they put it up on their trailer, or when they put it on the trailer, blow that mower off before they go to the next job.
Oh, this guy they go like 30 miles an hour on these things. And
oh yeah.
30 miles an hour right up the ramp and into the thing. I could wonder, see them come out the other side sometimes.
Yeah, you wonder if they're going to fly right over the top of the truck. Yeah, they got some speedy mowers, but that's about all you can do, really.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm getting ready to go out there and do battle now.
Get battling with that. Yeah.
I'll give you a call quick on that.
Sure. Yeah, treat the weeds with the herbicide labeled for your grass, and that's going to take care of the dandelion, the broadleaf weeds, the dollar weed, and things like that. Just the grassy ones, yeah, you do got to get in there and either dig them out, or you might even, you spray them, like I said, you isolate it, get it down there to what the center of that is, spray it with a general purpose weed and grass killer, using something that's going to contain the overspray so you're not damaging or making big spots in your yard. You can even go back a couple days later and dig that out of there, and that way your grass will fill in a little faster.
Well, I called in because I was, I don't know if you remember, but I said I put down that crabgrass preventer.
Right.
Lawn just turned brown. Well, I followed your instructions, and the grass is starting to show hints of green.
Yeah, it should be.
But I'm just wondering, if I should go over it or what with the mower.
I would give it some time. I mean, we had a good rain the other day. I know at my place we did. And just give it a chance. If it's up to the height high enough to mow. If it's not, wait, because you don't want to scalp it and just going over the top of it's not going to really do anything. Especially, cutting much off unless it's actually grown enough to mow. It won't be long.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I just thought I'd ask that since you were talking about this stuff. And I don't know. Thank you very much for being there. Thank you for your program, and thank you, WOCA.
Oh, thank you, Sonny.
Have a great thumb.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, with everybody's seeing the grass, and we got the little patch we can see out here, and you can tell even here. Even with how well manicured that they keep it here at the Paddock Mall, almost said the other place, you can still see there's still some winter color to it. There's green, it's getting greener, and it will be. It's just that the temperatures, it just hasn't really fully started to grow. I know I've talked to a few people who've had to mow their lawn. They may be watering more. They may have put fertilizer down. Some people use more fertilizer than others, or they put it down earlier, even though, it did grow, but how much of it did the grass actually take up. That's one of those issues that goes through every year when we start to break out the fertilizers and all the fertilizer sales begin. That you see in the store, the different name brands that are going, and competing for your dollar out there. Just be sure, and I don't want to get back into the calibrations and all of that stuff. Just make sure that you're fertilizing correctly. Don't fertilize. Your lawn doesn't need fertilizer once a month. It doesn't. It's something you want, something that's slow release, that's going to feed it over an extended period of time. That way you save time, you save money, and it's we do have the issues with our springs, with our lakes and things like that. Our aquifer is so close to the surface that we don't want to put down fertilizers that are going to not be utilized by the plant material that you're putting it down for. It's not cost effective, as well as the pollutant issue on it.
The phone line is open if you'd like to call Carol Ann. 622-9622 is the number. That's the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline. So this morning I saw two articles, both from the South Florida newspapers, when I put the news together, that I didn't use in my news. They were about attracting hummingbirds.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So is this the time of year, or is it just that it was a coincidence? Or
This is the springtime. We're attracting other all kinds of wildlife into the landscape. And if you were looking to, if you've had hummingbirds in your yard, visit your yard before, you'll know that they'll be back, or they should be back, so long as you have not chopped everything down.
They remember.
They actually do. They will.
That's pretty cool.
If you have a hung up hummingbird feeder in your yard, and you take it down for the winter and you put it away, and you bring it back up and you hang it somewhere else, they'll be looking.
Oh, really?
In that area where they were.
Oh.
So put it back where it was
cool.
each time. And usually you're going to put it near where they have some cover, as well as where there are going to be some of the natural plants that have the nectar, because the hummingbird feeders we put our own homemade sugar water, or even the packaged nectar mixes. Those satisfy their sweet tooth and probably do satisfy some caloric intake, but nutritionally they need the flowers. So make sure you got both.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you do have another phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a question on when you're planting in a fruit tree or something of that nature.
Okay.
When you're digging out the hole bigger and you're going to put some additional potting soil in there, can you use straight black cow?
You can.
You need to mix it.
No, you can plant right in black cow. What I like to do though is say you're starting with a 2 to 3 gallon pot, your general run of the mill big box nursery size plant. Is when you're digging that area, is dig the area up, loosen the soil up in a much larger area. Take and dump your couple bags of black cow, or whatever your favorite choice is, right in there, and mix that in with the native soil. Because 6 months to a year after you plant, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to be able to amend that soil anymore, and those roots are going to be a lot further out than a 2-foot ball where you amended a hole.
Right, correct.
So that's the best way to go. Now with citrus, you really don't need to amend, because citrus grows in sandy soil. That's not a big, because you want that to drain real thoroughly. But on other plants, say you were going to do some peaches or a pear tree or things like that, or any other tree or shrub, I really do. I like to mark out my area and just get the grass out and break a couple bags open right there on top, scooch it around a little bit so I know I've got enough of it all over, and then take the shovel and just turn that in a little bit and then dig the hole.
And with like the oak leaves, mix that in. The
Go
ones
ahead.
I've got in a bag and they've already blackened.
Yeah. Go ahead and put that in there as well.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah,
you all have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, if you're doing any bed, or even you're going to say you're freshening up, if you haven't got your garden in, get get on it now. If you're going to get your veggies, get on it. It's time to get started. Quit, slacking off here. It's 1st of April. I put my amendment right across the top because, especially on smaller plants, if you're doing, little annuals, even some of the perennials, the roots aren't real deep. Trees and shrubs, of course, they're deeper. But if you spread it out on there, I tell people, you put this pot in the ground, and I guess we got the camera out because I'm so visual here, unless you're watching outside the window. Within 6 months of planting that pot, that tree, those roots are twice as far out. If you planted it properly, they're no longer in that hole. There's some there, but they're out further. And so if you just had thrown a couple shovelfuls in the hole that you dug, you almost just wasted your money. Because the roots aren't there anymore. But if you mix it out into a much larger area, you're feeding it much more consistently, as well as keeping that moisture and all the rest of that. You've improved more of the soil than just a hole in the ground. So,
the other day I dropped my weed eater that I've had for 7 or 8 years.
Right.
And it was one of those rechargeable with a big plastic handle,
little cord,
and it broke.
It just shattered it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't because it's probably
they're
been
plastic. They dried. Yeah, they eventually rot.
So on Walmart.com, I just went there. Mm-hmm. They have them for $30. Not bad, huh?
Not too bad for a little, especially because you got a little tiny place.
And mine lasted 7 years.
Wow, that's pretty good.
I guess. I mean,
that's
if I didn't drop it, it would have still been around.
Quite possibly. That actually is very good for one of those cordless rechargeables because the batteries don't usually last that long, and with the plastic ones, the parts do deteriorate from the sun, from the heat, and just plastic doesn't last too long.
But you know what I'm thinking? I know people don't like Roundup, but I'm thinking Roundup might be a better choice than a weed eater. Because all I'm really doing it for is the edge. And if I put Roundup on it, that edge goes away.
It's right. It's gone. But it's then again, the whole thing, it depends on what you want to do. If you are just running around like the...
Do you have a weed eater?
Yes.
Gas powered?
Actually, ours is electric.
Oh, you do have an electric
We
one.
have a gas one, but it broke and haven't fixed it.
Well, we got them on sale. The gas one's for $68.
Oh, there you go. There you go, hon.
It's got 4 stars. People gave it 4 stars.
Well, good. But any of the ones, it's just the weed whacker can allow you to get around your shrubs and your trees and things like that, where a lot of people don't. You don't want to use excessive amounts of any herbicide around your shrubs and things like that.
Right.
So if you're not having those areas mulched, running a weed whacker, and there's this nifty thing they have on weed whackers. It's a guard. Where the string's spinning around really fast, is that you put that guard between the trunk of the tree and the weed whacker, and you don't girdle your trees, because that's how people kill their. The lawn guy killed my tree with the weed whacker because he kept hitting it with it. Well, if you put the guard between the trunk of the tree and your weed whacker, you're not going to girdle your tree.
You could literally kill the tree with the weed?
Yeah, over time, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because it girdles that bark and it no longer can take the nutrition and water up and down the tree because you've cut off.
That's like the Achilles heel of a tree then, isn't it?
Well, yeah, the bark is what keeps everything, keeps the different layers of the tree, the cambium and all that, protected.
Carolyn, we are at the point where we need to take a little break.
Go to the news.
WOCA, as most of you probably hopefully know by now, we are now a Fox affiliate as of yesterday, I believe, unless it started during the weekend. And that means at the bottom and at the top of every hour, you will hear Fox News. We do have news. So we'll take a little break and be right back with Carolyn Baldwin. If you have a question after we come back from Fox News and a couple of commercials, you've got a couple of sponsors that we need to squeeze in there. If you have a question, if you call right now, you'll be on hold. It looks like about 4 minutes. So we'll take a little break, go to Fox News, and we'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The Obamacare website getting a late surge on Monday.
All those last-minute signups could mean first-year enrollments actually meet initial goals of 7 million new insurance policies. Still, the figures Republican critics charge are misleading, noting there's no tally on who has actually paid premiums and how many signed up because they lost coverage under the law.
Fox Radio's Jared Halpern. The new General Motors CEO going before lawmakers to answer questions about a defect linked to 13 deaths.
Members of a House subcommittee committee looking into GM's recall of Chevy Cobalts and other older models with ignition switch problems want to know what the company knew and when.
Fox Radio's Jennifer Kuiper. In Washington state, at least 24 deaths blamed on the mudslide. Governors asking the federal government for a major disaster declaration. Fox News, we report, you decide.
There's more to Fox News Radio than meets the ear. Go behind the headlines and join the conversation on the hottest stories of the day on the Fox News Radio Facebook page. Be a part of the Fox News Radio Facebook fan community. Post comments and tell us your opinions. See behind-the-scenes photos and videos and post your reactions to the stories that matter to you. Click the like button on Facebook and connect with breaking news and features like Fox in the Fast Lane, House Call for Help, and more. Go to Facebook.com/Fox News Radio.
Weeknights, we're busting out a brand new lineup. First, market fraud, government abuse, corruption. At 5, nothing's off limits on money with Melissa Francis. Then, from bloated bank fees to consumer scams. At 6, Jerry's exposing the issues impacting your wallet. Plus, get smart market insight and trusted analysis you won't find anywhere else. At 7, Lou Dobbs is all business. And the first and last name in business, Cavuto. Shedding light on the biggest stories making headlines at 8. Only on the Fox Business Network.
Uh-oh.
Is that what I thought it was?
As long as you don't think it was me running over a sprinkler head, then no, it wasn't.
Oh, brother.
Don't worry about it. I'll just add it to the honey-do list.
If you had signed up for Mike Scott Plumbing's irrigation package in the first place, you wouldn't have to do anything.
What? Mike Scott Plumbing does irrigation too?
Yeah. I told you they have packages where they take care of everything.
Yeah, but I broke it, so they're not going to cover that.
But with their annual irrigation maintenance plans, you never have to pay for another service charge or broken sprinkler head ever again, regardless of the fault.
So that means I break it, they fix it.
That's what I said, Mr. Genius.
Okay, you win. How do I sign up?
I thought you'd never ask. Call Mike Scott Plumbing today and ask about their irrigation maintenance plans. 237-2888. That's 237-2888.
Mike Scott Plumbing. If water runs through it, we do it.
Hi, this is Carol Ann Baldwin. I quit fertilizing flowers and vegetables the old-fashioned way. Now I use Dynamite Premium Plant Food. With its easy earth-friendly patented coating, there's no risk of over-fertilizing. Dynamite Complete Plant Food releases nutrients for 7 months, so there are no highs or lows during the growing season. Dynamite Premium Plant Food contains complete nutrition, including micronutrients like copper, magnesium, iron, and zinc. This gives my plants explosions of blooms for both veggies and flowers. When I use Dynamite Premium Plant Food, I only have to use it once every 7 months, and don't worry about the nutrients washing out with heavy rains or irrigation. To learn more about the Dynamite family of products, go to dynamiteplantfood.com. Dynamite Premium Plant Food is so easy to use that you'll spend less time working in your garden and more time enjoying it.
Hi, Danny Warfel here. Get moving with Florida Credit Union's fast and easy loan approval process.
Let Florida Credit Union start up a new car loan for you today. No more waiting, hassles, or stop signs. You can even apply online. With a strong financial team behind you, you can enjoy great rates and fast approvals.
It's all about personalized service and a streamlined process.
Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life.
Black Cow composted cow manure is a terrific organic soil amendment. We start with cow manure from dairy farms and then compost it a full 90 days. The result is an all-natural, dark, rich soil amendment that's great for everything you grow. Flowers, vegetables, shrubs, trees, and lawns too. Look for Black Cow in the bright yellow and black bag at your favorite nursery or garden center.
Black Cow, the mature manure, Black Cow.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Well, I like the way this works. The timing is exact. It's 25 minutes now before 10 o'clock. Let's rejoin Carol Ann Baldwin, and You've Got a Garden. And if you've got a question for Carol Ann or just want to make a comment, the number is 622-9622. That is the WOCA Climate Control Source Hotline.
Got it all in.
And it looks like you have a phone call.
Great.
Back. Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Hey, good morning, Carol Ann. I was wondering if you could speak to trimming and proper care of palms, specifically Washingtonian, that, the dried fronds hanging are crucial, really, for the palms.
No,
because they give nutrients.
The dried brown ones are not producing anything. It's the dried ones that are hanging down the green. You don't want to cut any of the green ones off. People have a tendency to cut everything off, but the dried ones, you can cut those off. Just don't try to rip off the pieces that stick to the trunk, because those will stay on till the tree, can slough those off.
Well, I Googled a number of things, and included in the top 10 things to do wrong, specifically the Washingtonian palms, is to cut those dried hanging ones, because those are still getting nutrients from those leaves or the plant.
Not that I know of. I mean, it's not enough. If you're fertilizing, if you go ahead and fertilize them with a palm fertilizer, pick your brand. Epsom salts is just one piece of nutrition, and only if you're really deficient in the magnesium does it really need the extra. But normally, I mean, if it's unattractive on the palm, and apparently you're questioning because of that is my thought. Because if you really wanted to leave them on there, you'd leave them on there and let them fall off on their own. They could take years to fall off, and you just have more and more of them, and then you just would end up with a little bit of green on top, a lot of hanging dead fronds. Once the fronds are drooping down and hanging down, they're no longer producing chlorophyll. They no longer have chlorophyll in there. They're no longer producing photosynthesis. It's a green plant material that's doing that, so they're not really doing it. They just don't want you to take and yank them off to pull them, to where you're going to. When you pull that down, you're damaging that bark, cutting off ones that just have brown tips on them or a little bit brown. Those are still working. You do have to put up with a little bit of the flaw on that, where they got a little tip burn from the winter time, or it's just that frond is beginning to get a little old. Cutting off the brown ones is not going to hurt the tree. It's not going to affect
because everything I read up on said that they're still pulling nutrients out of those hanging fronds.
Not really. Not enough to affect the true health of the tree, if any. I think some people are just there. They like to they find that aesthetically pleasing. It's a look. Sometimes it's with some of the palms, they're just too big, with some palms to reach any longer. Your sable palms have the I don't know what to call the part that stays attached to the trunk. People get yanking and pulling on those or hitting them with a machete. That you should not do. That will slough off as the tree matures itself. If the fronds are completely brown, removing that frond is not going to affect the overall health of that palm tree. Other than that, then it's a personal choice whether or not you want to. But if your trees are healthy, if you're fertilizing on an annual or twice a year, 3 times a year, the little bit that the brown frond, if anything, is doing is not much. It's not going to take away from that tree.
What about on a 20, 30-foot Washingtonian, and when the tree climber goes up and jams their spikes in and really just brutalizes the whole trunk? Can you speak to that? I'm going to have to hang up. I'll continue to listen. Thanks,
okay.
Caroline.
Yeah. When the palm trees start to get too high, then I wouldn't worry about it. They will drop. Just watch out if you're standing underneath it when they drop off of there. to hire a climber every year to go up and do them, to put the spikes in, that's not really doing that much. You could always ask or hire a tree person who uses a lift, not spikes. That's not a climber that they have lifts. Many of your tree people do, and they'll go up there and cut those off. Again, that part that sticks out should not be attempted to be removed. If you ever see the trees, especially the sables and some of the other ones that do get real tall, eventually they start to shed those parts. Once the tree gets up to a certain size, sometimes it isn't effective either cost-wise or to bother to try to reach up there and get them off. It's a matter of aesthetics more than anything else. In nature, you know what? Nobody prunes them. They fall off on their own, but they also weren't. Nobody's worried about they're going to be in the garden. Or anything like that, but so it's a matter of aesthetics more than whether or not it's necessary to take them off or leave them on. Neither is a necessity unless it's a financial. You leave them on there.
Right,
if you can't afford a tree guy, your options on whether or not to have a climber go up, because climbers go up all kinds of different trees. They don't harm the trees because it's not something you're doing every day. They kick in and are they're not putting holes all the way around your tree. They're not curdling the tree. They're really not doing serious damage to them. If your tree's unhealthy, anything you do that's going to cause a wound is going to be or has the possibility of causing a secondary issue if there's one underlying. But you can always hire somebody who uses a lift instead of a climber. So they are out there.
And the phone line is open. I think she
she had
left and was listening on the air. The phone number is open if you would like to call. The number is 622-9622. And during what you were talking about, I mentioned I broke my weed eater, so I went to your store, Lowe's.
Yeah.
And I think I found the one that I broke.
It could be
$50. It's got 5 stars from other people. I would give it 5 stars. It was a good. It was Black and Decker.
And for it to last that long, that's a good weed whacker, especially on on electric or cordless. Yours was cordless.
Cordless and electric. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You plugged it in and keep it charged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I noticed the last time I used it, I had to charge it like all day and then use it the next day.
Right, yeah.
So that was starting to go anyway.
The battery was beginning to probably not hold a charge anymore. And with any of these tools, this is that time of year. Excuse me, but check and see if yours is working. They're all having all their sales and all that fun stuff on them. And so if you needed some new tools, this might not be might not be a bad time to upgrade or get a new one for the season if you need it.
Yeah, well, I do. So the one I think I'm probably going to get, the same one I broke at your store at $49.97. I can order it online and pick it up at the store.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a nice feature, and a lot of stores have that now.
But I don't think
the big Wally World and the
the big Wally World. All right, you ready for another phone call? Good morning. You're on the air with Carol Ann.
Hi, Carol Ann.
Hey, good morning.
Always enjoyed this program so much. I just wanted to ask about Fakahatchee grass.
Okay.
Mine looks really nice for a couple of months, and then I can't figure out why it turns brown all of a sudden.
It may have some fungal issues. Some of the ornamental grasses will get a fungus. It'll start like in the middle of them, and a lot of times even you'll be able to just reach in there and pull out clumps of it that are right out of the middle of it, and it makes it look really nasty. I would probably, and it probably starts to happen in say July or so, when those rains, again, those afternoon rains and things like that. You may want to say starting in another month or so, spray it as a preventative with a fungicide. I don't know if there's any that are actually labeled for the ornamental grasses themselves. I can try to look it up and see if there's one. I'm not sure if there's, because there's 3 or 4 different fungicides out there that are for ornamentals, and then you've got ones that are for turf grass. But I don't believe the turf grass ones are going to be the one that's going to help with with an ornamental grass.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll have a look for that then.
All righty. Take a look on that and see.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to see whether or not I can look something else. Look it up real quick here and see whether or not we can find out if I can find some ornamental grasses.
Oh, and you're looking on your little device.
Yeah,
What is
got
that?
It's a note. It's a cheap version. Actually, mine's a clue.
What's it called? A clue?
It's actually KLU with the little dots. It's like I got a clue, so that works on it. But actually, I looked up the Florida University of Florida Yards and Neighborhoods page. Let's see if we have anything that's going to give us. If I don't have it, I see no comment. I may just have to look up diseases of ornamental grasses and find it for us. But the ornamental grasses, they too can get diseases. I haven't really done a whole lot on looking that up, but so maybe that may be a note on finding out, because we do have ornamental grasses are great for Florida, for our area. They're easy care. Springtime, we cut them way back to, say, about 6 or 8 inches. You don't want to cut them too low, because just like a lawn, you'll scalp them and they won't come back nicely. But that's the easy way to get rid of all the dead stuff out of the middle of them, is to do that. And then I like to take a stiff rake, like what they call a shrub rake, and go through and get out the rest of the dead stuff. And even throughout the year, you can and see, and get rid of that stuff. And then in the fall, they bloom. It's, the ornamental grasses, the muley grass gives that sea of pink that you'll see. And a lot of times they'll plant them in median strips and things like that, or in a nice big area where it's all one color, that soft pink cloud.
It's a photo opportunity.
Yeah, it's a photo op right there. And then some of the others, the other ornamental grasses. The only one I'm not real crazy about is like pampas grass. Pampas grass is huge. It has its place. It does have some interest, especially they use it in formal gardens. But it's sharp. When you get working in that one, you're wearing long sleeves. You better be wearing long pants and gloves, just because the grass itself, the blades itself, are very sharp. And they will cut you. You will get scratched up. And so those are the only drawback I have on those ones.
Carol, I don't know if this is a dumb question or not, but is manure processed, or do they just pick it up off the field and put it in a bag?
Black cow is actually processed. It goes through. It is a composted manure. So
is it better than if you just went out in the field and got it?
Yeah, it is, because it's aged. So it has, the weed seeds have been cooked out of it. Compost will heat up, and it heats up to a specific temperature that will kill weed seeds and other undesirable portions within that, without destroying the nutrition in it. Now, if you look at a bag of black cow, the nutrition is 0.5 is the breakdown: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. So it's not a whole lot that's in there, but it adds texture to the soil that helps it to retain moisture, helps that, and the plants can take that up, that nutrition that's in there up very easily. It's something that they can do on a pretty quick, pretty easily, that it's not, it's readily available. That's the word I'm looking for.
Isn't it fascinating, though? I'm always fascinated by what seems to be the design of a thing. And in this case, God would have designed the cow and the horse to eat this grass that is then expelled once it's used it up. And not only does it give these undigested seeds in nature, the fertilizer, but it gives it a place to grow, which then will again feed the cow.
Well, again, feed the cow and the horse,
big circle.
And it does. And a lot of times on pasture area, they will just go through and break that down. or it gets gathered up, processed back through, and then spread back on
Isn't that
those
amazing,
fields,
Mo?
so that it's put out more on an even basis. But that's the way to go through.
And you have another phone call. Right. Good morning. You're on there with Carol Ann.
Yes. Good morning, Carol Ann. While we're on the subject of manure, I was just wondering if there is any advantage of sheep manure over cow manure.
Sheep over cow. I think sheep manure still has to be aged. I think sheep manure can still be pretty hot.
Okay.
And that's why we age cow manure or horse manure, is that it has a high nitrogen content and can be very hot. But now llama poo llama beans can be put right into the garden, to the best of best that I know.
Yeah. Would you suggest that you use a sheep manure would be better for some different vegetables in that, or?
Well, I mean, I would put it in. I would use it in the garden if I had access. But again, I would probably put it within a compost pile before, and age that down if I had access to fresh, and age that down for a couple months before I used it directly in the garden.
Yeah. I believe it's a little more expensive because there's probably not that much of it. Would that be a true statement?
In our area, probably. There are some sheep around in the area, but, again, unless you knew somebody, you might, whether or not any of the 4-H farm, if they have them, because I know some of the kids do raise sheep within that. So there is somewhat of a sheep industry, but not sheep isn't a huge agricultural, what's my word? Staple, right. We eat cows, we drink milk, but the sheep is something a little more specialized, maybe you'd say. Same goat is actually, you probably find more goat than you would sheep. And again, their manures, still it's a good manure because these are grain and grass-fed creatures, so their manure is high in nitrogen, and which we can use in the garden. But you want it to age some before you put it in the garden.
Yeah, it seemed like back up in Wisconsin, where I'm from, that it's much more available sheep manure over the cow manure. But down here, it's not that plentiful. But I don't know if there's probably more sheep up there or not, but it seemed like it was used more up in the northern states.
And that's quite possible because it is, those type of animals are more up in those areas. I think with us, I know there's some sheep. I just don't know how many. You don't find it as a commodity product like you do the other manures out there. But if you have access to it, I would use whatever you can get your hands on. Or to put it that way, but it's just trying to find out. Rabbit works well, chicken manure works well. Just different. Find your whatever you have good access to is the best thing. And with any of them, I think, except for like the llama, I know most all of them need to be aged somewhat. Just as a little funny anecdotal story, back when I was a kid, the circus would come into town, and we had neighbors. They were getting their garden together. It was still. I think it was still quite chilly out. I'm not sure now, but they had gone down to the circus and they asked could they get any of the bedding that they had used, and the next thing you know, they had a dump truck load emptied out in their driveway while they were at church one Sunday of elephant manure and the straw bedding that went with it, and then they had the fun of trying to move said elephant dung around to the vegetable garden, and still had to age that down because again it's a hot item.
You know, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if this is a good observation, not that being down here in horse country with a tremendous amount of horse population, you don't see much of horse manure or at any times. I don't know, what's the deal on that?
Well, with any of them nowadays, they have to have it. They have to pay you to have it hauled off. So if you know somebody, because they're no longer allowed to have it right on the ground. So there's a concrete slab underneath it, and that somebody's there. Like Black Cow, they actually contract with these dairies, and they collect it. They go get it. And so with some of them, and with a lot, horses and the thoroughbred industry, I would be a little bit concerned on antibiotics or other medications that are in, that these animals are given that, does not transfer back through the manure and then into your garden. Yeah. So you have to, that's the biggest concern. And again, when they start processing it as a commercial product, it's aged. You get the Black Velvet, another product from the Black Cow company. Black Velvet is the mushroom compost, which mushroom compost is horse manure, but a product of the mushroom industry. Where the horse manure is used to grow mushrooms that we consume. The little button mushrooms are grown in manure. So that's one of the the things on that. And so just but if you know somebody or you're interested in getting some, it just they'll usually have very large piles on the sides of their barn. It is what's cleaned out of the barns, right. And you go from the oldest pile. Yeah. When if they allow you to.
With a product like Black Cow now, is there any way they can process the chemicals out of the material so that it doesn't get passed on to you and to your vegetables?
Well, the way Black Cow does on their website, they'll show you they do huge long furrows. It's all outdoor aged, but it's like I said, it's contracted through from an industry which regulates within itself, and they themselves, because they know that people are putting this into vegetable gardens and things like that, and so that compost has come up to temperatures that will kill off much of that bacteria, and it's turned properly and proper amount of moisture and things like that are going to show you or not show you, but we'll process out of the material. I'm going to see whether or not if I bring it up. Let's see if we can get Black Cow. I spelled it wrong. Oh, there we go. Brought it up anyway. If you Google Black Cow, and even if you spell it wrong and it says Oxford, you're going to get it. So it's come, it'll come up and it will show you. If you look at their website. See if it's finished load up on here, and we can. I can see it. How they do the furrow, huge long piles of manure that are aged and they're turned. Where when we make a compost heap at home, we have a tendency maybe we'll turn it once or twice. Well, theirs is turned enough and the proper amount of moisture added to it so that it will heat back up and not be an issue. You would have to look that one up on your own. But look up Black Cow. It's spelled with a K. And it will come up and give you their website, and they've got some. I think they've got some video, or I know they got some fabulous photographs in their gallery that will show you the process that goes on. And it's it's a local. I'm not sure if all the cow manure piles are all down there in Oxford. I know their main headquarters is in Oxford, which is local. So it's all it's Florida and Georgia cow manure.
Yeah. With the Black Cow now, is there a pretty long shelf life? Like, let's say you wanted to stock up for next season because all of a sudden, you go to your local whatever, and you're looking for it, and there's been a run on it, and you can't get it. So you want to buy enough so that you don't have the problem in the following year. Is the shelf life on that pretty long, or does the time kind of affect it, sitting in a bag?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say it real quick. It should be fine like that. Just keep it in the dark because the bags will break down. They're plastic bags, and any plastic bag will break down. And I'm hearing the music now, so we're right here at the top.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you, Larry.
All right now.
Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. There was a deadline deluge for the Obamacare website yesterday.
That surge has the administration on track for 7 million health insurance enrollments, an early first-year goal dismissed after the glitch-plagued launch of healthcare.gov. The website had nearly 5 million visitors yesterday, the final day to select